Good morning, everybody. It is another beautiful spring day here on the ranch, and I am wearing my "You Goat to Be Kidding Me" shirt, so that means we are doing something with the goats today. It is construction day, and we are building a new mobile shelter for the yearlings because we're going to be moving them around the property, and we need to have some mobile shelters for them. So let me show you what we're going to be doing to build this Goaty Goat Go, I think is what we're calling it. We'll work on that. Let me show you what we're doing. All right, everybody, so what you're gonna need is two 4x4s and two 2x4s, and then some cattle panel and a tarp. It's pretty easy. So basically what we're going to do is we're gonna take these two 4x4s, we're gonna cut a wedge out of them, place the 2x4s across, let me go this way, yeah, across this way, just to give them some support, and then we use a cattle panel to wrap the top of it, kind of like old covered wagons. And then we put a tarp over it. But anyway, let's stop talking. Let's get this project done. We've got a lot of stuff to do today. Let's go. Okay, so what we've done here is we've measured 4 inches in because we are gonna take this down at an angle, okay, from the edge. So eventually we're gonna slice that off so that these are a little bit more like skids, and this slides a little bit easier, and this bottom part won't get caught on the ground whenever we're moving it. But what we're also doing is we're marking off where our 2x4s are going to lay across each one of these skids, okay? So we've taken the 2x4, we've laid it across to mark exactly the width of it, and then we've measured down the depth of how deep the board is going to go, because we're going to need to remove this chunk so that your 2x4 will fit inside. So if you can see, this whole chunk we're going to take out. All right, so now what we're doing is we are ready to cut these boards, and what we're going to take is, I'm going to use my saw right here, and we're going to cut little slits just down to that angle so we can get this all cut out, and then we take a like a wood planer or a screwdriver, whatever you have available, and you're going to knock it out. That way you can have this nice notch for your 2x4s to fit. You can also do this with a handheld skill saw. Just set the blade depth to whatever your depth of your cut that you need, and you can kind of go like this. I prefer the standard chop saw. So let's get cutting. All right, so this is what you're looking for. Little cutouts like this, that way they're easy to knock out, and then you have your little notch. Okay, we have our slits cut on all the boards. We got all 4 ends done, and we've got our angles for our skids. That way that bottom doesn't get caught when we drag these. So now let's take our little chisel and get knocking these out. So now we've got our notches out of the boards, and now we're going to put the 2x4s across. We're not going to make this overcomplicated. These are 8 foot long. The boards are going across are going to be 4 foot wide because we have 8-foot boards. Don't overcomplicate it. Just cut everything in half. It's a lot easier. So let's get these 2x4s cut and get them screwed in. right, frame and skids are done. It's time to get our wire and get this thing looking like, what are we calling it? The Goaty Go. All right, so all the cattle panels on, or actually technically we used hog panel for this. That's just because that's what we had. You can also use cattle panel, that works just the same. Just kind of measure how much length you need and trim off the height of your panels and trim the edges off to the height of the arch that you want. The last part that we're gonna put on this thing is a center spine from like here. It's gonna come up and just square off like this. For the goats, because they like to jump on the sides of things and push stuff over, we just put that in there for some extra support. It also gives a little extra support if the wind blows so the top doesn't flop around. That's the last part. Then we'll be throwing a tarp on and we'll be good to go. All right, so the main structure, the spine, grab this, the skeleton, the skids, everything is done. Rob just went up into the pasture to grab one of the tarps that we were using for the current makeshift hut up there for the goats, because that's what we're gonna use to cover it, is a tarp. We'll probably end up buying one of the heavier duty ones, but for now, let's give them something to cover because we're supposed to get rain tomorrow. And then the goat and go is done. Our nieces are here. They're behind the camera right now. My beautiful nieces decided on the name. Instead of the Goaty Go, whatever we were saying, it was too much of a tongue twister. They renamed it to the Goat and Go. So that's what this is. So thank you, Caitlin and Alicia. Love you. And let's get this thing moving. All right, everybody, this project is done. We have the new Goat and Go installed right on our front hillside. We moved our little boo-boos. Actually, they're not even little boo-boos anymore. They are yearlings. So that is Adele, Dolly, Freya, and Reba. They are all now in the front hill pasture, if you want to call it, or front yard. And they're already working on the ivy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember, like, subscribe, share, and until next time, bye guys.